Yeah, we're soul sisters. Together we gon' make sure that you know Jesus. Right now could be your breakthrough. Just come join with us. 'Cause the Spirit might just make you yell out, Lord Jesus. Right here on the Godly View.
Hello, everyone. We're back for another episode. Tonight we have some lovely guests with us who you might recognize, and a co-host who you might recognize. But as we get started off, we want to say thank you to everyone for joining us. I am Jessica Rogers, your neighborhood therapist. As always, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to have another conversation can that these conversations are needed in for kingdom people, even if you're not accepted that part yet in your life, but it can just be a conversation from you. I think every episode we have something that somebody can walk away with. So we're glad to have you here. We're glad to fellowship with you guys. We're glad to just see y'all and see each other. So I've given my introduction. Persephone, do you want to go next? And then we'll have Andrea and Max.
All right. Hello. I'm Persephone Sonia, aka Pastor Greer. I'm a gospel songwriter and producer, an ordained pastor. But my most important and my most fulfilling roles, obviously, are being wife to the Clifford William Greer II and our beautiful son, Alonzo Eugene Greer, aka Gene on the scene. He's actually sitting here looking at me like, "Why did you wake me up to sit me next to you while you talk to the computer screen, son? Mama's working, we doing kingdom work around here." He's looking at me like, don't try it. But we live in the beautiful state of Alabama until the Lord moves us somewhere else. And I am just so grateful to be on the Godly View with my sisters. I'm blushing like I'm part of the couple. I'm just looking at them like, look at my sister, my brother. I love, and I love kingdom-based love. The love that they have is kingdom-based love. And I'm going to turn it over to my sister so she can do what she do.
Listen. I am super excited about this episode. I am your purpose pusher, Andrea Lynette Perry, hailing from the great state of Mississippi. And I have my honey with me, Max. We are super excited for this episode. We're ready to give you guys some good information, some real information, and some growing information. We still listen. We in this thing. We in it.
Yes,
in
yes,
it to win it.
definitely.
And we've been together a year, February 20th.
Awesome. See,
A year,
beautiful.
Well, the last time we was on here, it was in May or June.
June.
Yeah.
June. The last we was on here, and I think we February, March, April. So we had been together 5 months then, y'all. 5 months. And now courtship. We have been together our courtship for 5 months, and now we have a year. You gonna go ahead and introduce yourself?
Amen.
Yes, I am Max Johnson. I am from Cincinnati, Ohio. I just turned 38. What's the date today? The 25th. About 6 days ago, on the 19th.
Woo!
Happy birthday!
Yeah,
Happy birthday, bro!
Thank you. She said I got me a cougar.
Wow.
Oh man. But yes, so we've been in courtship, for a year and 5 days. So it's what? Everything has its ups and downs, but it's been great.
Yes.
It's been great.
Yes.
So when you look at the bigger picture, the whole picture of it all, it's been great. So, yes.
Wonderful.
And you, where are you from?
Oh, yes. So I am from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yes.
Yes. Well,
They
we're glad to have you both. You know, we see Andre all the time, but Max, we're glad to have you on this episode. It's always great when we have a guy's perspective because you know, so we are strong women, but sometimes we need that guy's perspective too. And so we're glad to have you on today. So tonight, y'all, we're having another relationship episode. And so tonight's topic is about yellow flags and green flags. And you know, we always talk about red flags in cultural society and what to look for. And if you see this, girl, you better run away, or
Run.
homeboy, you need to pack up and go. It's time to get out. But we know in kingdom relationships, hardships will come, and there are things that you need to talk about, and everybody should have their hard nose and the hard yeses, but there are also other things we got to look for, just like a person's character, what they do. And so we can't always just chase the red flags, because what did Pastor Steph's husband, Mr. Greer, say last week? If you're looking for the red flags, that's all you'll find, right? So again, there's so much that we could talk about with relationships. I think that's a topic that will never go out of style, but we're here to again get the kingdom. We're here to get the kingdom side of it and show that relationships do work. And I think we have a great dynamic tonight. We showed y'all from a married perspective last on the 11th, but tonight we have a couple who has been in courtship in the what do y'all call it, dating now, or to get relationship stage and moving and moving to the marriage phase. And so, but also they're doing it long distance. So I told Miss Andrea, I said, you know, she talks about how sometimes on her show she does that's for her. Well, tonight it's gonna be for me too. So I'm gonna get what I need, and I hope everybody else gets what they need too. So jumping into it, can y'all tell us a little bit about your relationship and how y'all came about, like your beginning story? Let's start there. How y'all came to be Max and Andrea?
I'm gonna tell you, we did tell our beginning story on our last episode, but we will give you guys a sneak preview. Okay. But if you want a little bit more,
tell it again.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna let Max start it off because he good with the date.
Okay.
But after the date to get a little fuzzy, I'm gonna have to come in.
All right. So we met on Facebook. It was July 2017. So I were talking to someone else, this other young lady, and so she introduced me to this single group. And so I got into the group, and Andrea was one of the first people to greet me. And I was like, man, this woman, she's all chippery. That's my expression was, she was all happy and chippery, So she introduced me to the group, and I sent her a friend request. Then we started, inboxing, and after a while later, I wanted to get her number. So I was like, hey, I'm about to hop off of Facebook for a while. So you mind we can, text her or whatnot? And she said yes. So we text back and forth for some months. April 2018 is where we had our first conversation over the phone. I guess it was like an hour or so.
About an hour.
And after that date, we didn't have no more conversation for 2018, 2019, and 2020. So basically just texting every now and then. So come late November 2021 is when we start back texting again. And then she wanted to call, and I got real nervous. And then I finally made a call, and been calling ever since. So 2022, last year, February, is where we made our courtship official. And I believe it was September or October is where we got engaged.
October.
of last year, 2022.
October 2022.
Yes. So this is some background dates for everyone. So
That's all right. I'm glad you remember all that because I showed like I'm like Andrea, like you gotta do the dates because but I mean, I think that's pretty amazing. It seems like so I have two spin-off questions, but it seems like God had y'all kind of like in a holding pattern to each other. So my first question with that is why do you think that it just never connected after that first phone call?
well, I think back then, and so I was Pentecostal apostolic, and I believe she was Kojic. And we talked about some things that I'm like, her doctrine is not right.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, her doctrine is not
So that's a crazy spin too. Y'all let religion kind of like, like cause that rift. So that's one thing we don't talk about either is that, how even though they're like kind of similar, just those fundamental differences can still, cause some friction.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and I remember, we talked about baptism, and it was just like, I don't know. But yet, that she was just so nice to me. Every time I would text, I'm just going through a period, of people just not being so nice, just gave me a bad taste, So yeah, she was just always, that type of nice person. So man, I got so excited and I forgot your question.
So my question is like, why do you think that first initial meeting it didn't spin off to like where it took years now down the line to come back to that point?
Okay, honestly, I wasn't ready. I thought I was ready. So I was wanting to date. But it just all for the wrong reasons. Back then. So it's just that spiritually, mentally, physically, any other league you can think of. I just wasn't ready. But yet it seemed like the end of 2021. It's like when I just let go of it, and I, just, it's just that when I let go of it, that's when things began to play out for me. I didn't know everything's gonna play out the way how it's have. So just that I wasn't ready. It just was not the right time. If we were been together back then, and things just wouldn't be so right now. So it's just the timing of it. So
it sounds like Andrea, but it sounds like that, that might be one of these yellow flags we're talking about. You come to realize that you had some things you need to figure out for you. And so maybe we could say that's a yellow flag of relationship. Sometimes that it's not that it's a red flag, but it's the person saying that I do see value in you, but rather me keep going forward. Let me put a pause on it. Go ahead, Andrea.
So what I would say is something he told me. I had inboxed him one time, and he said, "Right now, I'm healing." And he also told me he didn't think that I would like him. And I was like, "Wow, you think that?" So he didn't really like he was poking me on Facebook. Facebook used to have a poke feature. He was poking me, so I knew he was like a little interested, but he would never like say it. So one day, I had texted him and told him that I was interested, and he was happy that I, made the first move pretty much. But I let him make all the rest of the moves.
Yeah, and also when we talk about the first move, I didn't know how to make the first move. It's like I was growing up in church all my life, church boy, and I didn't know how to do anything. Didn't know how to approach, a sister, at church or talk to her or anything like that. So That's one of my prayers I had asked the Lord. It's like, hey, whoever I'm gonna be with, let them come to me first. Let them come to me first, because I didn't know, so yeah.
And another thing I'll say is I was happy that during the time where we weren't together, like when we was just friends, I was happy that we were able to build a friendship and for him to share with me, I'm healing right now. Right now, I'm not ready for anything. And I didn't, at that time, I hadn't approached him or anything, but he was just letting me know where he was.
Oh, that's true.
And I like that about you,
I mean, it does pay to just be honest. Like, instead of, telling people what you think they want to hear, but being honest, even if it's not what the other person may want to know or hear at that point in time. Pastor Steph, do you have anything?
Yes, I was going to say that, Max, it's very important, those 2 points that you shared as a man, that you pray to the Lord, like, listen, I need some assistance on this, in this department. And also for you to be aware that you're healing and to be upfront about that, because that's something that a lot of men, even if they feel like they're in a healing process, it's almost like they're afraid to say it because they don't want to lose out on the opportunity to be with somebody. So those were 2 fellas. Are y'all listening? Because those were 2 very important things from your brother in Christ. Now pay attention. It's not just the women saying this stuff, it's men saying it too. It's important.
Yeah. I will also keynote that, because self-awareness is so important. It's so important. Because you can stop yourself from getting in situations and bringing people into situations if you are just aware. And so, yeah, that's my end spiel. So my other question is, how have you come to tackle issues of, go ahead, Andrea. I saw you.
Okay, so I want to say one more thing. Okay. When we were getting ready to start our courtship, Max was very, very intentional. And I really want to make this clear, because he was telling me he is not about to be no boyfriend. He wants to be a husband, and he does not want to waste his time. And we did a fast for 3 days, and we prayed for Max, I think, on the first day, and then me on the second day, and then for each other on the third day. And we asked God if this relationship was supposed to happen.
Amen.
And one thing that I would say is, I never, in any of my relationships, I never heard God say, this is the one for you, or this is the one that you have to be with. But for him, that's what God told me. And I would say during our courtship and being long distance, me knowing that God said that he's the one is what I can always run back to. Like, I'm not leaving. I'm not going nowhere. God told you it was for me. You for me. I don't want nobody else. I tell him this all the time. I don't want nobody else. I just want you.
That's
right.
Else.
Right. So also, audience, we've had 2 people now tell you. Mr. Greer said last episode, and Miss Andrea said it for Max this episode, that they both said, I know I'm a husband. I'm not a boyfriend, right? So again, there's that honesty and self-awareness, right? So that's a green flag we're trying to get to in everybody, right? We try to get to that.
Yeah, part.
So
okay, go ahead. Oh, who
he said, when was your first date? I'm asking because I went on a date last week, so I'm in the beginning of possible courtship. Okay, so our first date.
Our first date is when you came to Cincinnati.
So it was February.
No, okay, yes. So I believe that was February the 18th. She came, and so we had a lunch date at the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, that was a good
one. Yes. And I remember what you ordered.
He got the good memory. Like, he got the handle. Like,
I love it.
Like, listen, I got the date. That's my strength. Go ahead. Just be quiet.
Okay, what about order?
Okay, so I had the salmon. I had some rice. and another side dish, and you had a sandwich.
I had a sandwich at Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah. I was surprised. You had a sandwich. It came and it was cut in half. And you.
I don't remember nothing.
He said, "Listen, we at the Cheesecake
surprised.
Factory. You get a sandwich."
Yeah.
Was the sandwich good?
That's what I ordered. Let me be quiet.
And you know what? I kind of feel like with it being a first date, she just ordered something simple.
Oh, that's what it was.
I don't know. It could be.
Okay.
She just
He
ordered
was
something.
perplexed. He was like,
No.
no.
Well, we got that cheesecake too.
Yes. And so I had a cheesecake, and you had a regular cake, didn't you?
I had a regular cheesecake. Yeah.
No, a regular cake.
I had a cake.
Okay.
You're doing it
Y'all
all
acting
wrong,
married
man.
already. I love
All
it.
wrong. This is
Listen,
one of
that
the
was a
red
good question,
flags
Lonnie. That was a
society
good
would
question.
say. Okay.
I like that question, Lonnie. I like that question. Thank you, Lonnie. Okay, go ahead, Jessica. I'm sorry, I ain't gonna interrupt you no more.
It's okay. So as you guys have put out there, your relationship has started off long distance, and that's what has continued to be at this point. So
Yeah.
my question for you is, how have you come to tackle the issues that long distance can propose?
You asked how have we come to tackle?
Yes. Tackle the issues that long distance can bring up, or that can play into that.
I'm gonna let you answer this first. And then I'll piggyback on you.
Okay, so I'm gonna say for me, I'm gonna talk for me, then I'm gonna let him talk for him. But for me, I feel like long distance was the best thing for me. And I'm gonna tell you a couple reasons why. For me, Max was already at a place in his celibacy journey that I was not. And one thing that I prayed about is that I will meet someone who is already, ready. And the one thing that I will say, and I believe one of our second or third conversations is his purity, and how he was like, in this courtship, we are not going to, no, that was maybe the fourth conversation, but we're not going to kiss. We're not going to be rubbing each other. We ain't going to be, laying together. We ain't going to be having sex. So the way that he honored me,
Mm-hmm.
he continues to tell me, you're the prize. And you're supposed to be modest and protected by me because I am your man.
Mm-hmm.
And that part I needed. But at the same time, if you got any children in the room, cover their ears. But I like to have sex. So this was my thing that I had to work on. This was the thing for me.
That's all right.
So I
Tell
had
the truth, sis. Tell it.
Yeah, humble, open, and transparent. That's the only thing that will help somebody else.
Yes. So for me, it has been a great thing for us to have long distance, and then for us to have these times where we come together, and it's like we either going, to a different state, we're going to, because I love to travel, and this was Max's first time getting on a plane in March, and he's been flying ever since. He done got so many points flying that that he don't even have to pay for his flights no more. He just got points.
I'm trying to get right there.
Praise God, brother.
Okay.
Yes. I'm trying to get like you when I grow up.
I'm trying to get flued out. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So I would say the journey of long distance has been good for me, and I really have appreciated that. Mm-hmm. Now, on the other end, we don't get as much time to spend together, quality time to really, really get to know each other. Mm-hmm. Like, you know how when you're together, you're able to go on dates, in the middle of the week. Right. So we only get the time that, when we come together. That's the kind of negative thing of long distance. But I would say because he was where he was, I'm able to be where I am today and say that I have not. Look, I'm like the woman. I have not had no sex.
We felt that. We felt all.
Yeah.
We all felt
that. But I would tell you, I did not. Like, I've done it for periods of time, but I did not think I could do it for this amount of time. And I'm gonna tell you that I have been able to do it, and it has not been hard. Because if you got somebody who is with you, who is showing you the way, who's showing you it's possible, then you could do it. And I continue to tell him he is the one for me because of his relationship with God, because of his spirituality, because he makes me better. He makes me run to God all the time. He makes me run to my word because I'd be like, where is that at? He had told me something the other night. I'm like, hold on, I ain't never read that scripture. But I think for us, well, for me, it has been a great experience because I love to travel and because sometimes you don't need to have too much closeness, when you got.
You don't want to suffocate each other.
Sometimes you need the closeness because you got to get to know each other. You got to learn each other. You got to have that quality time. So closeness, connection, and
yeah. I know that we had to tackle some things, by just staying. It's in constant communication, either by texting. We
FaceTime.
call daily. FaceTime. And to just
Zoom.
Yes, Zoom. Just keep it daily.
Zoom dates.
Yes.
I like Zoom dates.
So yeah, and I know that we talked about in the beginning of the courtship, how we were going to, see each other once a month, but back then with my job, I wasn't able to do that once a month, but with me working from home, I'm able to, just work anywhere, anywhere could be my home, So we had to tackle, some things just by staying, it's a constant communication, and also, stay on the same page.
Yes.
What I mean by same page, just make sure that our focus is in the Word of God, that we are aligning, in what He wants us to do. So yeah, just a constant communication and also visits. There's been times when she came up to Cincinnati, times I came down here, times where I met her. It was out in Oakland, California for her birthday. And so so that was nice. Yes, with Charlotte
for Christmas
back in December, and I think our next trip will be in Texas, right?
Texas.
So instead of me always coming, to where she is, so she coming to where I'm at. We can also go to other places.
So,
yes, ma'am.
No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
Oh, so I was going to say something, keeping it holy, as well, even though that we can be by ourselves, but, we have, faith and trust that, that we'll do everything, that the Lord wants us to do. So
I want to say, so the question is, how can we tackle the issues that arise in long distance? So the way that I believe we tackle the issues is we have some long, heated conversations. I think we be talking for about 3 to 4 hours, probably up into the next day. Sometimes, and we do it until we find a common ground and until we have a resolution.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a long time.
That's all right.
To get on the same page and for us to find, that common ground. So one thing that I will say is that I always tell him that our issues make us stronger. Like the things that we have to tackle, it builds our relationship. And when we have these conversations inside of our courtship, some of those, real deep, real, tough conversations, we have them in our courtship, and we won't have to deal with certain things in our marriage. Now we're gonna have something that we have to deal with in our marriage, but it won't be the thing that we address in our courtship.
Right. I think in terms of long distance, that can be a blessing too, because y'all have that distance. So when you do get off the phone, you can kind of like sit back, think about it, and kind of decompress without somebody right in your space all the time, But with the distance, when you were together, how did you create intentional time? What did you do? What did that look like for you guys of being intentional with your time together when you did come together?
Well, I would tell you, when he comes here, I pretty much have like an itinerary and a schedule for him.
I can see it. Like,
I am so intentional with the time that we're together. Like, okay, we're gonna do this day, we're gonna do this day, and we're gonna go out of here, we're gonna go out of town this day, we're gonna go to Louisiana this day. So he is more of a go with the flow person and not plan. But I'm trying to, get the perfect balance.
Right.
That. But I would say we have to have dates even when he's here. Like we have to have our time where it's just us. So I think one time when I came down to Cincinnati, I was telling him, I was like, okay, I need time with just you.
Not everybody else.
With just you. And when he comes down here, he be telling me, I need time with just you, because we want to introduce each other. We want to, have our friends. We want to have like game nights. We want to do stuff, with our family. We want to do all that stuff, but we got to have some us time too.
Right. So let me ask you this. So Andrea said when you came there, Max, that she already had stuff planned. So Andrea, when you went there, did you expect him to plan? Like, he's laid back. Did you expect him to plan things?
I did expect him to do that, but no, he did not do that. So I told him,
real quick, no, he did not do that.
I'm going to plan for you when I come down there.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like I'm more of a go with the flow, just as he said, type of guy. If we want to go to the movies, she bought her tickets like last year. And I'm like, all we have to do is go to the theater, get our tickets and popcorn, just sit down. But she just want to buy them ahead of time. Like even before they announce a movie coming out. Before
they announce the movie coming out.
She just got the supplemental ticket. Like, I know I got a seat to whatever I want to go see.
But for me, I'm a type of guy, I'm like, oh, it's 8:00. Hey, we can go to the show real quick. Just spontaneous, sometimes.
So I think that's good. Like, and I can understand for Andrea how that's hard finding a balance in that, because as becoming a mother, I think I was more like you, Max, before I became a mother. But now, like, when you got so many things you got to juggle, it's like you can't help but not plan. Like, you have to do it. And so, but I can see how that can be a struggle, but also sometimes very much needed. Sometimes you just got to go with the flow. You got to learn how to let go, let God, and just see what happens, but I understand giving up that control too. Well, I don't want to call it control, because I don't think Andrea is controlling, but what I'm saying, just the
work on.
Well, that's all right, sis. Just the need of needing to know what everything's going to happen.
Yeah.
It can be frustrating.
Yes. And I would say one thing that being with him has taught me is to slow down. I have, like, he'll tell me, people been telling you that all the time, but you ain't never did it. And I tell him that I have slowed down a little bit slower than I used to be. Like, if he's
thinking, woo.
Like, you can see somebody at 40%, but not know that they started at 10. So for him, like, he sees me at 50 or 65, and he don't know that I didn't came a long way, because I was at 10. You know, I was at 10%. So I was very, very like boo, 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 boo. But now move.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. Like last week, we went over to her father's house for something. And they were sitting at the table, and I just sat down on the couch and got comfortable. And she was like, "Hey Max, time to go." It's like I just sat down here, I just got comfortable, and now I got to get back up and just it's like okay there. So yeah.
But the reason why is because we had an appointment because I was getting him his first full body massage for his birthday. So Max, he has a place where he need a little bit of improvement on being on time. So I'm trying to help him in that area. Right. So I was just trying to let him know we got to leave because it's closer to the time. It's almost 5:00. Let's be on time. And then I knew when we got there, I'm gonna have to register everything, and I want him to have all his time when he get his massage. Like I don't want none of the time to be us getting there. No,
Yeah.
we need all the time when he get the massage. Okay, I'm sorry.
Right. So we have a question that came in. It says, "Do you share rooms when you travel?"
Okay, so in the beginning, we did not share rooms when we traveled. In the beginning,
okay,
but I think we got to the place where we didn't want to buy 2 rooms, so we just get 2 beds. So we share rooms now.
Yes, and we still are able to keep it holy.
That's right.
So it's like so it's like if she had to go wash up, I'm not in the bathroom where at the same time, while we are in the room, I make sure I'm still dressed, and it's just sharing rooms, it's just to save money.
Yes.
So it's nothing more, to it. So we do share rooms.
I wonder also too, do you ever think unconsciously it was a place that you guys got to a place of trust with each other to know that boundary wouldn't be crossed?
Yeah.
Yes,
because we have our mind.
At first I was gonna be all over him, but then I said, let me back up. Hold on,
right. Yes.
I had to progress.
Hey, that's not wrong with it.
Where I am.
Pastor Seb, do you have anything you want to add? I want to make sure.
Yeah. There was a couple of things. Well, when it comes to the Alonzo, when it comes to the issue of sharing the rooms, when Cliff and I went to Maryland to visit family, it was the month before we got married. We didn't share rooms. And it was crazy because when he first told me, because he was telling me for months, I want to take you to Maryland. My cousin Ashley's getting married. I want to take you to the wedding and have you meet the Maryland Greers and all this stuff. I was like, okay. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I can't afford the travel right now. So how are we going to do that? He paid for my room. We had our rooms were side by side. Mom and Dad were like diagonal down the hall. Aunt Valerie and Aunt Dottie were across the hallway. So, it added to the level of accountability, the level of security, even though we decided that we weren't going to do anything. It just felt good for them to know they're in separate rooms. But here's the funny part. Jessica, when you asked about the comfort, like, was there just a time where you just felt comfortable, like you didn't have to worry about that being an issue?
I think
now y'all know how expensive bras are, ladies. You know how expensive bras are. I needed a bra, but I wasn't going to say anything to Cliff about it. This is before we got married. And he was like, I'll get you a bra. And I was like, okay, well, praise God. So when we went to go look at bras, he's, helping me, find the size that I needed or whatever. And it was crazy because when I tried on the bra that I wanted, my natural instinct was to be like, Cliff, do you like the bra? And he came back there like, I'm seeing you in your bra, madam. And I'm like, because I asked him afterwards, I was like, was that weird for you? It was crazy because I felt so comfortable with him. There was an automatic thought. And usually when somebody's buying you something, you kind of want them to approve of how it looks on you or whatever. But it just didn't phase me that, hello, ma'am, it's a bra. He was like, you the one that has to wear it.
This is a bra.
So it's funny how you can become so comfortable with somebody that, you know, those things aren't even an issue anymore. And it wasn't like after that I had to worry about him being like, well, you know, let me see it again. You know, it was the purity of it all. But yeah, because listen, I had issues with my thoughts, not necessarily the actions, but the thoughts. Right about this area, right about here. I don't know what part of the brain this is, but I felt the tingle. So I understand, Andre. I understand. And on the issue of the control, because you know there is an element of control where it calms you to be able to know where you're going, what time you're going, what time you're leaving. Max, let me tell you, buddy. Let me give you some encouragement. It does get better because I was very much like Andrea, and you were very much like Cliff, where there has to be a balance of spontaneity with the planning. But the safer she feels with you, and the more you continue to be who you are to her, that'll get better. I promise. And if it don't, I don't know what to do for you, buddy.
Call Pastor Seth.
You'll be all right. Y'all be fine.
It is gonna get better. And I think one thing I could say is I am letting him take some of the lead. Like when we went to our anniversary dinner, normally I would just, you know, get up and let's go to the next thing. But we stayed in there until they started turning the lights off on us.
Yeah.
So I had to pat myself on the back because normally I would be like, okay, let's go. So at the end of our anniversary dinner, I had to give myself a hand clap.
You did, yes.
I did good.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you. So when it came down to like you guys in your courtship and dating and things like that, how did you decide? What did that look like in bringing stuff together for you guys? Like when did you start? When did it start becoming how we looked at things as a we versus a you and I? Like with traveling. So you're gonna do this, I'm gonna do this part. You're gonna do this part, I'm gonna do this, but then it became a we do this part kind of thing.
Let's see, Max, what you got?
Let me see. Okay, so I don't think it was something that was a right away. Okay. You know, I believe it took some time for us to go from me to we. Yes, to we. You know, yeah, you know, I never really thought about that.
That's a good question. I would say for us, you know, we are still in a phase where we are merging our lives together merging our thoughts together and merging like everything. Yeah. We are in that phase right now as we speak, like today. Okay. We are in a place where because we had a conversation last night and I was telling him, you know, we no longer are me. I am we. It's no more I, no more me. It's us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. So like we did have some conversations last year, you know, like also dealing with finances, you know, like from me to we type of finances, you know, like how we should, you know, go about, you know, like, you know,
putting everything together.
Yes, putting everything together for us, as far as for like paying bills, you know, and just things of that nature. And also, and I believe just everything else, you know, I don't know why I forgot about that. I'm still trying to remember it.
Yeah, but
you know,
I think the main thing that we discussed was that when as we come together, it's gonna be more of a merge.
Yeah. Yes.
It's gonna be more of us bringing everything together.
Yeah.
So we'll have
Yeah.
one pot where everything is gonna go into for all the bills, and then we'll have our separate accounts as well. So we are like I said, you know, we are engaged. We haven't got married yet, so everything ain't we yet.
Right.
But if somebody asks me, like if I'm doing my taxes, I'm single. He doing his taxes, he's single.
Yeah.
Mhm.
However, when we get married, it's gonna be joint, and it's gonna be us.
Mhm.
But we are already in that phase now to kind of build ourselves up to the point where we can start seeing it's about us.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay. So last question I would like to ask, kind of like closing us out, Max. It's a separate question for both of you. What advice would you give to males and females about if, since you guys have been mostly long distance through your relationship, what advice would you give to the males and females about how to be intentional in that space with long distance and just dating and courtship?
It's like how to be intentional. Well, what made me to be intentional is it's like it was a lot of signs that pointed to her. I shared this with some people how that she was a prophecy. I had a very close sister.
Prophecy fulfilled.
Yes, prophecy fulfilled. I had a very close sister who passed from cancer back in August 11th, 2020. Back in 2010, she told me and a few others, about some of the things that would come. And she told me how, for the one who I would be with, first, it's some things I need to work on myself and get over myself, and it's almost like, and then this person will come. I remember also back in 2009, this organ player at my old church named Marcus Stewart, and I hope you're watching, so I was stuck on this other young lady, and we was outside the church talking, and, so he had told me, he was like, Max, your wife is not here. She is out there. And when he did that, he pointed, southbound, and I remember how it was, he pointed southbound. It's just like, so Ohio being north of Mississippi. So I didn't know all this back then, and it just that everything was a mystery to me. Now, it's like, hey, it's more things are being revealed. So, it's just that me knowing everything, it just made me, more, intentional. I didn't know it was going to be her, but when some things, like some signs came, to the forefront, it's like, oh, okay then, this would be the one. I remember February 20th, we was going to get some massages in Cincinnati. We were driving down the highway southbound, and she was laid back in the seats, and I looked over to her, and then something told me, it was something as of like, now is the time,
Right now.
So it's like, so I was thinking like, man, so I don't want her to leave, without making this huh?
I think it's a good thing you did that.
Yes, like this courtship, official. I was thinking like, hey, if I let her leave without making it official, somebody else can come by and grab her up. I was thinking that while driving. So, and then, so I was looking for other ways how to ask her. I had my mindset on another way, but, just me turning over while driving, which is dangerous, asking her, and she said yes, and it was just that, it just, yeah, everything just came to play. But, I mean, just knowing who God is, letting him lead you and guide you, it can cause you to be more intentional, when it comes to a person, You know, just
Long distance.
yes, long distance. I never thought for me to be in a long distance relationship before.
Mhm.
10 hours away, you
Mhm.
know, it's like, you know, so for me, I'm not a driver, you know. I mean, I have my license, but I don't do long trips by driving, but 10 hours? You know, I never thought for
He's
me.
like, I'm exhausted thinking about it.
4 is my max.
Mhm.
You know, 4 is my max, but yeah. And I hope I answered that correctly. You know,
You did.
You know, it's-
Yeah, there was no right or wrong answer.
yeah, there's a lot of information given, but you know, just being, you know, in the right place, you know, like where the Lord wants you to be, you know, and then just find out about, about a person, and you can, you know, just become more intentional, you know, with them, you know. It's a whole lot more, you know, to it, but
Well, it sounds like you didn't let as soon as you felt like this is something that you were supposed to be doing, you didn't let the distance be,
Good
even though you don't like to drive, but you didn't no longer see that as a hindrance. You let it kind of just be like, okay, it's 10 hours, but because I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, it's
yeah,
going to work.
yeah. So, well, back then, you know, I wasn't thinking about the distance, honestly. You know, now I look back, yeah, yeah. So I was just thinking, like, okay, I'm gonna have to make it some way, you know, or somehow, you know. I didn't think about getting on the airplane, you know, until she had, you know, helped me to get on an airplane, you know. But yeah. Yeah, so
All
man,
right.
it's so much more, you know, I have in mind I want to say, but I'm
Well,
just
go
trying
ahead.
to, you know, bits and pieces, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anything you wanna
What
So,
would you say for the ladies, Andrea?
so for the ladies, I would say be patient, be proactive, and be in position. So, what does that mean? Be patient for the times when y'all not able to see each other. Be proactive. Sometimes you're gonna have to make, you know, sometimes you're gonna have to make the first step and go ahead and get the flight and tell them, look, I'm here. Where you at? Come pick me up. And always be in position. I think one thing about God and about how He works with me is I'm always in constant communication with Him. I'm always trying to say, like, what can I do better? How can I be a better person? How can I do better? And how can I allow this relationship to make me stronger, better, and my relationship closer to Him? And be very, 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 very postured in worship. Keep your prayer life, keep your fasting life, keep all of that together, because in relationships, there's tough times. In relationships, there are some times where, you know, you may not, you know, be like, okay, this is my favorite person. It may not be that. It may be like, okay, well, you know, I don't want to talk to him today, but you need to talk. You need to communicate, especially on the days when you don't want to talk.
Right.
That's the day when you need to talk a little bit longer and a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, your position and your posture is always what God wants. Because, like I said at the beginning of this, I know that this is the man for me. I know that this is the man that God made for me. I know that this is the one that God has for me. So my position is always in a place of worship. So what does that mean? That means I'm believing God to be God. I'm believing that what He says is a God thing. And this relationship is a God thing. And because I know that, and because it's a concrete thing, when the hard times come, when the rough periods come, I'm able to go back to the word from God.
Yeah, that sums it up.
Pastor, do you have
And
any?
thing,
Go ahead.
Max, he's really, really good about bringing out my femininity. He's very good about don't touch no doors. Allow yourself to be soft. Allow you to rest in your femininity. Don't go to masculinity. stay in your femininity. And if I ever, go over, you need to come on, rest in the femininity. Rest in it.
Yeah. I need that because that's hard for me.
And I think because after you've been single for so long, and I'll be telling Max this, I'm 39 years old, and I'll be 40 in September. And one thing about it is I've been single longer than I've been a child. This to anybody, but I've lived my life as a single woman for so long, and I've had to do for myself and for my family for so long, and some things just come natural to me, and I just do it.
Yeah.
And now I have to rest in my femininity and just be like, let me let that do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Reverend had a different show. I will plug his other show. Oh my goodness! On Mondays.
Real Talk
Mondays. Mm-hmm. He had a panel on there too, and one of the reverends on that panel, was talking about submission, and kind of it gets a negative connotation, but like you're doing here, you're being sub to the mission, right? And so you're saying, Max, I understand you're the male, you have, this is the things that you're supposed to take care of, or but I'm here to be sub to your mission. And it's not that I'm under you, but I know that I can be the woman God called me to be versus having to be the man and the woman now. So I think that's awesome that, it is hard. I can talk from that standpoint. I'm sure Pastor Steph can talk from that standpoint. For women, it's especially, I think, Black women, we get so ingrained in us that it don't matter. You just got to get it done. And so when you do that for so long, it is hard to turn over that leaf and just kind of.
So for the men, they need patience, understanding, and grace.
Yes. Yeah.
I totally agree. Listen, Max, let me tell you, buddy. I am so glad that you're the one for my sister, because being on your own and being the one that has to get it done, it's hard to turn off. So be patient with her, because it's something that once you begin to really rest in it, you're like, oh, I like this. Oh, it's nice. I remember the first time I went somewhere out of town without Cliff, and I had to open a door for myself. I was like, oh, like you get used to it. So continue to be the man that you are, and continue to allow her to rest in who you are. And I guarantee you, it'll begin to soften. It'll begin to not even be an issue anymore. And sis, be encouraged, because I know where you are, because I was there, and it gets better. It gets better. It gets better. It will be a distant memory of how you used to have to think about everything, and you used to have to worry about everything. You used to have to be there for everybody else. Now is the time for things to shift, where everything that you poured into everybody else, God has placed someone in your life that is going to pour into you the way you pour into others. Yeah. And it's gonna make your vessel even bigger. Yeah. So the vessel that you've been pouring out of, because he is pouring so much into you, God now has to give you an even bigger vessel to pour out of. Yeah. And it's going to do nothing but be for your good, for Max's good, and for God's glory. It gets better. Being on the other side of it, listen, sis, you going to go somewhere without Max one day, and you're going to be standing there waiting for the door to open. Oh, I got to open it. You're going to forget. Let me tell you, you're going to forget how heavy doors are. You are going to forget how heavy. You are going to forget. You're going to go to pull on the door one day and be like, ooh, because you're going to be so not used to doing it. I'm telling you, girl, it's wonderful here. It's wonderful.
Well, I received that too.
Yours is coming too. Listen, that first time you go to pull a door and it's too heavy, call me and be like, see, this happened. It happened.
Glory, glory.
Yes.
That's a message. Come on. When you realize that the chores are too heavy, you waiting on your husband.
Right. Yeah.
I tell you, my mama used to sit in the car. Now I had a good example, so I don't have no reason not to be in the place where I need to be. But I'll say because I've been single so long. But I had a good example. My daddy, he opened every door for my mama. Even if it wasn't a door to open, he trying to make sure it's room for her. That's how he was. He was a perfect man of God for her. In his progressive way, he was. I had to do a plug for my daddy. But I think I give a couple green flags before we get off.
Okay.
So one green flag is listening. When you find a person who was able to listen to you and able to have those long conversations and able to pay attention to you, now that's the one. They're comfortable talking about their feelings. I think a yellow flag will be they're not ready yet because maybe they don't feel comfortable with you yet. And I think we've had some times and some conversations like that. Mm-hmm. And next, they have a high self-awareness. They have a high intelligence of who they are. And the last thing, they have empathy. They're able to put themselves in your situation and empathize with you.
Amen. Well, that's what a way to end on a green flag note. I was gonna call the other moment a green flag note, but that works too. But yes, but I thank y'all for a wonderful episode. As we our other sister here in the comments said, it's a great way to have an update on how amazing your relationship has been thus far and where it's going, continuing to go. I wish you nothing but the best for your future, for your lives together as you continue to mesh, that God bless you with everything that he has for you, collectively and individually. And I pray that, whatever that you have in your hands is multiplied, and that he will continue to lift you up in his arms and in his grace. But yeah, thanks for everybody. Thanks, family, for joining us tonight. It was a great episode as we talked about yellow flags and green flags. I think we had a lot more green flags in there than we try to point out some yellow ones. But yeah, I think that's my ending. That's my ending message.
Y'all had some good questions in the comments too. Thank y'all for engaging.
Oh yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Y'all interact too. That was my ending spiel. Pastor Seth, would you like to say something to end on?
I just want to say that I love Max and Andrea. I love y'all individually, love y'all as a couple. It's been beautiful watching your love story. It's been beautiful watching your courtship. And I'm so proud of you both. Anytime someone is having a relationship that truly honors God and God truly is the head of it, I am all for it. I pray that God just blesses your socks off and that he does even more than what you ask him for. Step your prayers up. Like pray for bigger things than what you've been praying for. You've been praying prayers that are quite modest.
Ooh.
God says, pray for more. I can do way more than what you're praying for. What you're praying for is cute. But ask for more.
Get scary
and watch me move. Yeah. Ask for more. Love y'all.
We love you. We love the Greers. We love Cliff and you.
Yes,
I told Max you're gonna have to come to Alabama and visit y'all.
Please do. Please do. Your nephew is waiting on you.
So once again, another amazing episode. As I sat back and I watched from the behind the scenes of this episode, and last week's and week before's, I have literally perfect examples of what godly marriage is supposed to look like, as well as godly dating and engagement is supposed to look like. So I really appreciate you all because, as Jessica said, this was for me tonight as well. I mean, I'm sitting there in these comments and I'm literally writing notes as I'm watching the show because I'm like, a lot of this stuff that we're discussing, I'm definitely taking back to make sure that I'm being the person, the man that I need to be in my relationship. So I appreciate you all for that. And as we close out on the night, you all, God bless each and every last one of you all. Pray that you all enjoyed tonight's episode. But in closing, on last week, I came home on Thursday. And as I came home, I was able to receive this award, which my sisters have already seen. And my sister just said, to those of you who can't see it, I know y'all can't really see it right now, but it says 2022 Spin Award finalist, The God Leads You.
Yay for
As-
us. Yay for the kingdom. Thank you to all of our
Yes,
viewers, all the
yes,
listeners. We love y'all. Everybody that voted for us. Thank
Yeah.
we
you.
appreciate y'all.
We
Yes,
love
thank you
y'all so
much.
much.
And
Go back, tell your friends.
yes,
Oh
please,
yeah. Oh yeah. Go
please.
back to your friend.
So, as our sister, Pastor Greer, just said,
Hold on.
we are stepping our prayers up.
Yes. Thank
This
you.
season, we are stepping our prayer life up. We are going higher, and we're not stopping. 2022 finalists was good. We appreciate that. But next season, we claiming 2023 winners. We're claiming better marriages. We're claiming better relationships. All
Yes.
of that in 2023. So
Yes.
instead of closing it out with the theme song on tonight, what I want to do is I want to ask our sister, Pastor Greer, if she will close us out in prayer to bless this wonderful couple, Max and Andrea. Please.
Yes, it's an honor. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you have blessed us with. Thank you for your loving kindness, your grace, your mercy, your abundance, your discipline, your correction. And Lord, thank you for giving us eyes to see and ears to hear. Father, I thank you for Max and Andrea individually and as a couple. I thank you, Lord, for the journey that you have had them on their entire lives. Every tear that was shed, every question that was raised, every question that was answered. Lord, every problem that has risen up in their lives, you have served as the solution. So, Lord, I ask that you continue to cover them both as they go to their respective homes, Lord, and continue to prepare for their lives together. Lord, I ask that you cover them in travel. I ask, Lord, that you cover them in conversation, Lord. Continue to bind them together in the spirit, Lord. Continue to bless everything that they touch individually and as a couple, Lord. Lord, I thank you in advance for their testimony continuing to grow and evolve. Lord, thank you for the lives. Prepare the minds and the hearts of the people that you want to hear their testimony and be changed by it, Lord. Thank you for purity. Thank you for sacrifice. Thank you for sanctification, Lord. Thank you for prayer. Thank you for fasting, Lord. Thank you for their faithfulness as brothers and sisters in Christ to each other, and as well as being in courtship with one another. It is a blessing and an honor to be a part of their process and to see how you are in the middle of it all. Lord, we continue to cover them and ask that you just bless them and bless them indeed. In the mighty name of your son, Jesus, we pray, trust, and wholeheartedly believe in, always for your glory. Amen.
Amen. We will see y'all next month. Love y'all. Peace.
Love y'all. Bye.